Welcome to Starbase. So it's been almost 2 years since our last update, and a lot has happened since then. One of the most important great filters for any species is to have the other planet no longer dependent on the original planet. So I don't know exactly what that tonnage is, but I suspect it is at least, if one tries to get the right order of magnitude, about 1 million tons. Starship is capable of doing that. It's capable of getting 1 million tons to the surface of Mars and creating a self-sustaining city. And I think we should try to do that as soon as we can. The window of opportunity may be open for a long time, and I hope it is. But it may also be open for a short time. And this is the first point in the 4.5 billion year history of Earth that it has been possible. I mean, let that sink in. Or if there's a sink, let it in. Still knocking at the door. I mean, it's a sentient sink. Let's face it. Let it. I mean, come in. 4.5 billion years. It's been a while. This is the first time it's been possible. We need to seize the opportunity and do it as quickly as possible. I mean, to be frank, civilization is feeling a little fragile these days. And like I said, I'm an optimist, but I think we've got to protect the downside here and try to build that city on Mars as soon as possible and secure the future of life. And it's going to be an incredibly exciting adventure. Now, the sales pitch for going to Mars is that it's going to be cramped, dangerous, difficult, very hard work. You might die, and that's the sales pitch. I hope you like it. So far from being some sort of escape hatch, it will be extremely difficult and dangerous and tough. Mars is a fixer-upper of a planet, and so it's going to take some work to make it easy to live there. But one day we could make Mars a planet like Earth, and I think we should. So just some facts about Starship, and these numbers will evolve over time. The height of the ship is about 50 meters, 164 feet. The 9 meter or 30-foot diameter. Well, you can just see it, basically. It's got about 1,200 tons of propellant on the ship, and thrust is about 1,500 tons. Now, these numbers we'll probably add more propellant over time, increase thrust. Diameter will stay the same. It's a huge pain to change diameter. So that'll tend to stay the same, but it'll probably get a little bit longer. And we're expecting payload capacity of 100 to 150 tons, depending on which orbit. So to a Starlink orbit, roughly 100 tons. Over time, I think we can probably get the orbit for orbital refilling, the payload to an orbit for orbital refilling to about 200 tons, which is going to be very important for getting to Mars. So for getting to Mars, you also need the orbital refilling. Just like you have aerial refueling, the rockets will need orbital refilling. It's actually mostly oxygen. There's 3.5 tons of oxygen for every 1 ton of fuel. So that's why it's refilling, not refueling. So. Heat shield. So this is the world's largest heat shield. This is, we actually make this at our little factory in Florida near Cape Canaveral. We call it the bakery. And we're actually using a lot of techniques that are used for roofing tiles. So we need to have a heat shield that is capable of resisting extreme heat, but also is not crazy expensive. And our heat shield team has done amazing work in creating the world's largest heat shield, and one that is reusable, but also robust and low cost. So It's not a crazy money heat shield, and yeah, need good heat shield technology for entering from orbit. Orbital refilling. We were going to do an animation of this, but it looked a bit wrong. It is a fluid transfer. So, yeah. Play a little Barry White, you know. Okay. So that's one of the technologies that is necessary for getting to Mars. So the ship would get to orbit with its payload, and then in orbit we'd refill the tanks so it would have enough propellant to get to Mars. Mars is far. So now this is essentially docking in orbit, and with Dragon docking with the space station, this is a technology that that SpaceX has become quite good at. We've done, I think at this point, a couple dozen dockings with the space station, and it's actually way harder to dock with the space station than to dock with yourself. So this is, it is a thing we need to solve for Starship, but I'm confident that we can do this because we've done a lot of orbital docking already with Dragon. But this is going to be an important thing to demonstrate. What won't be necessary in the near term for Starlink launches, but it will be necessary for Mars and the Moon. So let's see, the super heavy booster. So it was 70 meters, but then there was an extra half barrel section that the team deleted, and totally accidentally it's 69 meters. It's also booster 4 and ship 20. I mean, this is a pure coincidence. Those numbers won't leave me alone. It's just, I hope it's good luck. So yeah, so propellant capacity is like around 3,400 tons. I think it'll probably it will increase over time. Probably get to 36, maybe 3,800 tons. Thrust is around 7,600 tons. That'll probably increase too over time. Just to put this into perspective, though, the Saturn V was 7.5 million pounds of thrust, and Starship is 17. So it's more than twice the thrust of a Saturn V, which was that's the largest rocket ever to get to orbit. It's worth noting Super Heavy is the largest flying object of any kind, or will be. It's yeah, very big. You can see it right there. This tower from design to construction was 13 months, so it's quite an epic structure. It's really worth emphasizing that the whole launch system, which is basically stage 0, is I'd say as complex and difficult as either the booster or the ship. So I really want to emphasize that this is it's a very difficult thing that requires a lot of hardcore engineering, and it's really, like I said, the tower and the launch system, which I call stage 0, is just as important as stage 1 and stage 2. I mean, this is really some wild stuff here. In fact, I mean, hard to believe it's real, except, you know, it's right there. So, yeah. Let's make this real. Any questions? Let's make this real. Yeah. Cool.